Hey everyone. Thanks for all the positive comments the last few weeks. Really appreciate it. And thank you for all the suggestions. Here's a special thanks to Pirate Stands and Brad Andros. Thanks for the suggestions, guys. I hopefully have your comments on screen right now. Also, if you like my channel and you haven't subscribed, I appreciate if you click that subscribe button. Here's a graphic. I have the worst, or the top tier of the worst, subscriber rate. Thanks. This is about the alt high profile keyboard. I got some comments about this version of it, in particular in my PewDiePie video. Thank you again for commenting and giving me some ideas. And I just want to go over it. The alt high profile, which is what all four of the boards I have here are. Yeah, I was a big fan of this board, if you can't tell. And what I'd like to point out is like the difference between the alt high profile and the standard alt, and just some pluses and minuses, and is it worth it today? So some of the things I want to point out right away is that the high profile, obviously, a little more metal. It has this light diffuser that is really nice, and there's some drawbacks to it. There's some pluses. You can actually get the board cheaper without it. I think it's like $12 as an add-on. And if you're not like a big RGB fan, you can just take the board apart and take it out, and it'll be fine. That being said, the standard alt drop board, which is a lot cheaper. Well, it's not a lot cheaper. It's like $50 cheaper. It has magnetic legs that will give it the same typing angle as the high profile. And the plus and minus is that you can remove them. The big downside of the standard alt versus the high profile to me is the sound profile and just the overall feel and quality of it. I don't like it when the keyboard switches are exposed, and the high profile sits up a little bit past it, rises up past it, and gives you a nice, like, deep, thocky sound when you use it. Whoops. I really need to add some lube to these stabilizers, but you get the idea. So in terms of why it's good or bad, I'd like to highlight the mounting system. I think it's a top frame, or what is it called? Integrated plate mount system. So that means that the switches sit in this plate, and the plate is part of this top part. And you don't get a lot of flex when you use this. Here, let me show you. Like, the board does not, there's not a lot of movement when you type. So it has a stiffer typing experience, whereas a lot of newer boards tend to have like more flexible options with it. Like, this is aluminum plate because the whole thing is aluminum. Some give you the option of like palm or like cutaway plates. Some of the PCBs even have cutouts in them that make them like move as you type a little bit to give it a more bouncy style. And that comes down to a lot of personal preference. And personally, I like a more stiff typing experience than maybe a lot of other people really into keyboards. And it comes down to a lot of personal preference. That being said, is this board worth it today? Right now, as I'm making this video, the case alone is $130. That doesn't include the PCB, it doesn't include the LED diffuser, it doesn't even include stabilizers. It's just this aluminum hunk. And that's not the worst price. That's pretty solid, but if you add all the stuff in, it comes to around $200 without keycaps. There's some other keyboards that give a better deal for a 65% layout. That's what this is. It's no function keys, but it has arrow keys. Move that cat hair. And then you have this row of keys. And I have a cool Artisan keycap here. And when I'm explaining all these board layouts and stuff, I'll have like a link in the description to this Artisan and everything you see here as well, just to keep everyone in the loop. The big plus of these boards, I think, is if you like RGB, they look really good. I mean, in particular, like the light boards are really, really nice with RGB. Just looks really pleasing to the eye. You can program it as my cable makes a loud raking noise. They're just wonderful. Some of the downsides I've ran into this is that some of the PCB variants that they have, so this is the drop laser. I believe, the first high-profile board that Drop put out in collaboration with, I think, Mito, who's like a designer in this hobby. And if I plug this into a Windows machine, it will work, but as you can see, the RGBs do not go on. But if I plug it into my Mac here, it powers it, and I think it has to do with the amount of power that the USB outputs. So these are like USB or USB-C plugs that tend to support up to like, I forget what the wattage is, but it's a lot higher than the standard USB-A's that like a Windows machine has. So your results on LEDs may vary, and this has been a problem for quite a few people who love these keyboards or has tried to get them. There are better alternatives, I think. The Keychron Q2 is probably like the one that most people are talking about, and it's just a really good price. It's $150 as I'm writing this review, and that's pretty good. That will get you a full keyboard working with keycaps, switches, the whole 9 yards. I don't own one of these boards. If you want me to take a look at it, perhaps I will. One of the other downsides about these boards is something called north-facing LED, which means that the lights on these are north-facing instead of south-facing, which also means the switches are north-facing versus south-facing, will have interference. So instead of going down all the way, it might hit the top of the switch instead. I haven't ran into this issue with all of my boards, and 3 of the 4 have GMK keycaps. Maybe I am, and I just don't audibly hear it. And that could just be me, but I really love the sound of GMK keycaps on these boards. I haven't had an issue with it, and of the 4 boards I own, this is the only one I've had a LED issue with. So I think it's shored up because this is one of the earliest high-profile boards I know of. Some of the pluses are, you can see that it has 2 USB ports on the right and left. Both work. I don't know if you can do it in and out, like, one is the power and data, and then you can like plug a mouse into this. I don't think it works like that. I think it's just you can plug in right side or left side depending on how your cables flow, and that's pretty cool. I've always liked that about this board. The only other thing I'll point out is that these are 2-pin, or 3-pin, sorry, instead of 5. What that means is, if you can see deep down into this keyboard, there is a spot for the middle part of the switch, and then the 2 parts. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. So this is a 3-pin switch versus a 5-pin, which is more of the standard. Drop's Holy Pandas tend to come in a 2-pin configuration, I think. But here's the difference between like a 2-pin and a 5-pin. And having a 2-pin PCB isn't a big deal. You just have to cut off these legs. And people hate doing that. I hate doing it. It's a huge pain. And it may or may not affect the stability of the switches depending on what kind of plate mount the switches are being held in. But personally, I don't notice any wobble. And I've had great results with these boards. Obviously, I wouldn't have bought 4 of them if I didn't really love them. So let me go through each of these boards. So let's talk about the boards, right? This is the black high-profile Drop with Drop's GMK white on black KATAKANA. I love this set. I don't know KATAKANA or anything. It looks really nice. I'm told one of the characters after it being produced is actually upside down. I think it's one of the function keys. Or it might be on here. I don't know because I don't know. My preferred switches on this are the Novel Key Silk Black editions, and I lubed and filmed them. They're a linear switch, so that means there's no... let me unplug this. That means there's no tactile feel. It's just a consistent feel throughout. I do need to lube my stabs a little more. Getting a little rattle, but pretty good. That was the first drop board. Well, actually, this was the first drop alt high profile I got. Let me plug that one in and show you what this is about. So, this is my first endgame keyboard I got, I think. It's the laser drop Mito laser alt high profile. Mito is like a designer in the keyboard space. He does keycaps, and he's designed this keyboard. He has a lot of awesome stuff that's all really cool. These are the Drop Mito GMK Pixel keycaps, so they are GMK. They look great. I love the look of it. You can tell I touch type because both of the two keycap sets I use the most don't really have legends on them. And these are Holy Pandas, lubed and filmed, so there's like very little key wobble. They sound awesome. Board just sounds awesome. The only difference between this and the other ones is this says drop laser on it. The standard. Like that, maybe? Here we go. And if you don't know, Holy Pandas are tactile. They have a slight bump. What's unique about the Holy Pandas is the bump is very high in the keycap switch. So you feel that bump right away, and then it's like a smoother transition throughout the switch. And it takes a little while to break in the Holy Panda switches, but once you do, they're really nice to type on. You can hear the typing test at the end of this video. We got the Lilac color. And these keycaps are GMK Fuyu, and the switches are Kale Box Jade, which are clicky switches. So clicky switches are similar to Tactile, except they have a click bar in them that give that sound. And what's neat about Jades is they have a click on the down stroke and the upstroke. And they're really fun to type on. They're probably one of my favorite clicky switches. You can hear the typing test for it later. And if you're going to have really bad sounding stabs, or you're too afraid to like modify them yourself, clicky switches really do hide that sound. But they also attribute to a really kind of nails on a chalkboard sound to a lot of people. Like, you don't want to use these in an office. What's great about the high profile is it does have a little bit of a sound dampening to it. So even though these are Jades and they're traditionally kind of loud switches, it's not super loud, and it's really fun to type on. Last but not least, we have the Artic color of this keyboard. And it's equipped with the Drop Mito SA Laser keycaps. You can see the profile right there. I just love this board. I love the look of the Mito styles. You know, the two of the four boards we just looked at have Mito designed keycaps. It's just how much of a fan I am. This is the only of the three that is just a standard. Well, actually, the Holy Pandas are tactile, so are these. These are the Anubis switches that I got from Canon Keys. Anubis switches by Mechs on deck. That I got from Canon Keys. They're really nice out of the box. I don't think I modified them in any way. I've tuned up these stabilizers, and that's about it. Just really nice to type on. SA profile and MT3 are both higher profiles that feel pretty good to type on. I use a wrist rest, so I might like the higher profile better than somebody who doesn't, as you're bending your wrist a little more to get into that position, but personal preference and all. So you saw the Drop high profile series. Here's several different versions of 75% keyboards that are ballpark same price. Right here we have a Skyline or Epo Maker keyboard. It's the GK68X, I think. This is about $170. It's Bluetooth. Does not come with these keycaps. These are GMK Mechs, but it comes with some standard kind of cheap keycaps and switches as well for that price point. It's probably cheaper overall, but I had to do a lot of work to this board to get it to sound pretty good. And if you're new to the hobby, I would probably recommend the drop over this version of the board. Now, this is Novel Keys. This is Novel Keys Olivia. This is the dark edition. Comes with these keycaps. Comes with the case just as is. The only thing I tuned up on this was the stabs, which it included. So basically this is as is included. I have a small sound test of me testing before and after I could probably put together if anyone's interested. And it has a cool, the board is very cool. It is plastic, but it's kind of a high quality plastic. It includes dampening foam in here as well. Gives it a nice sound. This is the Akari 68, which this is the Aurora Peaches and Cream edition. Without the keycaps, these are my keycaps. These are a different set of the SA laser keycaps. Again, a little peach and a badge. Very nice. It comes with all kinds of dampening foam. Comes with the stabilizers. It does not come with switches or keycaps. And I got this for $170. So it's $170, similar to this, but this board will come with all the switches. This is like $230, and it comes as is, everything. And this is $170 without the keycaps or switches. But it does come with stabilizers, and they match the theme of the Peaches and Cream, which is a GMK set that the board was designed around, which I don't have. And now this one is the most expensive of the three. This is the Melody 65, and it's heavy. It's the heaviest of it. It's all aluminum. I have a brass weight in the back, and there's another weight inside of this. These are GMK Firefly switches. These are the novel cream silk blacks that I like, and it just sounds really nice. It's just a very heavy, high quality board that is almost 2 times the price of any of the other boards I showed. And that's it. I mean, the TLDR, the drop high profile boards, are nice. They're a good gateway if you don't know what you're getting or you don't know a lot about the hobby. If you're brand new and you're looking for a board, in stock really matters. Having something in stock is huge. A lot of these aren't in stock in general. The Akaris, there's all kinds of versions of these boards, and they're never in stock. You have to group buy them. This was a group buy on Novel Keys. It's sold out now, but who knows, it might come back. And they have all kinds of variants, but I've had hit and misses with the Novel Key 65 edition boards. Random Frank P, another YouTuber, had a keyboard set from Novel Keys, and every single keycap was crooked. I set back the board and got a refund, and I bought this one with it, and I'm very happy with this. But I was very, very disappointed with the quality of the other one, so I don't know what I can say about this. And this, even though it is Bluetooth, and it's one of the first Bluetooth keyboards I had, I'm not a huge fan of using Bluetooth with typing, and it's more of a drawback than a plus. And it is nice. It has a nice quality. It has a nice finish on it, but I think I do prefer the drop high profiles. Now, is it the best bang for your buck? Probably not. If you're willing to get your hands dirty and to like really dive into the hobby, there are a lot cheaper options. But if you're just like dipping your toes in the water, I don't think you can go wrong with the Keychron Q2, GMK's 75%, which I didn't even mention here. Yeah, and just go out there and try stuff, really. There's probably always a really good deal out there. I just don't know them. And I don't want to make anyone feel bad about their purchase. There's a lot of things you can do to customize your boards to get the feel you like. So you don't necessarily have to be beholden to something. Just go out there and try stuff. And thank you for watching. Now here is a bunch of sound tests of 65% boards all strung together just for you. Thank you. Bye.